and welcome back to my channel. It's me, Riri, and I love pumpkin stuff. I know that that's kind of cliche. I don't really give a shit, but I love pumpkin stuff, and not just in the fall time. Although I'm happy that we're heading into fall so that pumpkin is more readily available. But I love anything pumpkin. I love all those warm, beautiful spices. You know, nutmeg and clove and stuff like that. Cinnamon. I'm just obsessed. Okay. My dog is snoring. Yeehaw. I attempted to do this back to basics and do the brushes and the shadow in one video, but that would not have worked. So, ta-da! We are now on part 6 of back to basics, and we are going to be doing some eyeshadow. I will be demonstrating using my Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. I feel like most of us have a palette similar to this. Pretty neutral, couple little cool tones, couple little matte shades, and some metallic foil shades. I feel like you could have any Maybelline palette, any Morphe palette, any NYX palette, and you're going to have these colors in here, so I chose this to do my kind of demonstration, if you will. Okay, so last video we discussed the different brushes and stuff like that. This I'm only really going to be using 2 to 3 brushes just to show you that you can do very simple colors and get a really beautiful look every single time. I am first and foremost going to say, when choosing your shades, and I do have the light way up so that you guys can really see what I'm doing. If it's too blown out, I do apologize, but I really wanted you guys to be able to see everything that I'm doing. So first and foremost, we've already discussed obviously warm tone versus cool tone. Everybody, no matter what your skin tone is, your undertone, anything like that, everyone can use earth tones and neutrals. That's your browns and variations of. That's your sand colors, your taupe colors, and things like that. Everybody can use those. Also green. Green is technically considered cool, but it's pretty universal as well. You can use green as a neutral or an earth tone? A neutral or earth tone as well. If you have warm skin, you're going to kind of gear more towards warm toned eyeshadows unless you're going earth tone or neutral, which everybody can use. Hopefully I was saying that correctly. Warm tones, you're going to go for reds and variances of. Yellows, variances of. Mustards, bright, whatever the case may be. And oranges, golds, things like that are going to look fabulous on warm skin. If you have cool toned skin, you can also use neutrals and earth tones. We all can. But you're going to go more for blues and variances of. Blue, aqua, teal, turquoise, things like that. You're also going to go for, again, green can be both, purples, pinks, silvers, and then, of course, variances of that. So pink, magenta, you know, purple, violet, those kind of shades. So warm tone, yellows, golds, reds, oranges, cool tone, blues, pinks, purples, silvers, etc. Now, I have a kind of rule of 3, and I feel like if you follow this basic rule, then you can use any colors that fall into your warm or cool or neutral or whatever the freak you want to use. These are just basics, and you can do with them what you want to do. But if you kind of do this kind of same 3-tone variation or method, you can build this up to make it more intense. You can keep it very soft and keep it, you know, more natural looking. And then you can also use whatever 3 colors you want to use within that variation of your warm tones or your cool tones or all neutral or all earth tone. So I am first and foremost going to say I follow the rule of 3, which is a lighter shade, a mid-tone, and a darker shade or a deep tone. If you start off with 3 colors, you can then build from there and do whatever you want to do. You can add 5 colors, 6 colors. You can add liner, lashes. You can do a variation of however you want to do it. But if you follow this basic rule of thumb with the rule of 3 and start with a lighter shade, a mid-tone shade, and a deep shade, you're going to always create a cohesive and blended effect to your lid. The very first shade you're going to do is your light shade. This is your shade that is your skin tone. So for me, I'm going to go in here into, make sure I'm saying, into Fresh, and as you can see, maybe it's too blown out. I wanted to make sure the light was really bright so you guys could see me. Hey boo. So I'm going to go into Flesh with a fluffy brush. Again, our fluffy brush is for all over. I am going to take Flesh and whatever your skin tone color is or variation near, that is what you're going to do. I'm going to color the entire lid. No rhyme or reason. I ain't trying to be cute or anything about it. So you can see it just intensified it just a little bit. This gives me a base to then lay the rest of the shadows on and make sure that everybody blends evenly and beautifully together. So that is shade 1. That is our lightest shade, and that is always going to be your skin tone shade. You can also kind of go a little bit lighter or slightly deeper if you feel like you cannot find your exact shade match. Now, I'm going to switch over to a blending brush. Again, a blending brush is going to be slightly less dense and less packed as this, and these are best for crease work. I'm going to go now into my number 2, my second shade, my mid-tone shade. So for me, I could either pick Birch or Twig. Birch is here and Twig is here. These are both neutral shades. I'm staying in browns and stuff like that just to show you guys. So I'm going to go into Birch. And your mid-tone shade is going to go in your crease, always. Now, if you do not have hooded lids, you can see how I'm staying actually in my orbital bone here, and I'm staying really inside that crease. If you do not have hooded lids, that is what you're going to do. Back and forth windshield wiper motions, and then nice soft circular buffing motions. Now you will see when I have my eye, you don't see a damn bit of that brown that I just placed down. So, if you do have hooded lids, crepey lids, anything like that, you are going to place in the crease and then come slightly above the crease. So for me, and for those of us who do have hooded lids, I say follow the hollow, meaning come into the hollow of the nose here, and I follow that line, and I'm going to very softly, bless you, bring that up, and then again, just using my little blending brush, nice circular motions just to make sure that it's beautifully diffused out. We're going to do that one more time, and you can work these up. I am just showing you a basic look. You can always layer this up with, you know, a dark, dark, dark brown, go into black, do, you know, whatever you want to do. You do a really pretty shiny shade up here. This is just a basic principle of 3 that works for everybody. So again, if you do not have hooded lids, you're going to stay right here in your actual crease. And again, nice soft windshield wiper motions. You can see I'm holding my brush almost all the way at the end of the barrel, so that it lays down the least amount of product. If you come further up, it's going to be more aggressive and lay more product down, more pigment down. And then again, I'm just going to take the same brush and very softly, after all that product's off, just diffuse. Now I'm going to go in with a little bit more of a finer brush. You can use a smudger brush, a smaller blending brush, or a pointed contour brush. Now is when you can build up the color. Still pick those same 3 shades, a light, a mid, and a deep. So for me, I would come in either with Dystopian, I could go with Bloom, which is that pink shade, or Noir, which is black. I'm going to come over here into Dystopian. I'm still trying to keep this very neutral and very natural just to show you guys. Your third shade is your contour color or your dark shade, and that is going to be for your outer corner. You can use a blending brush, you can use a small contour brush, or you can also use a packing type brush. I'm going to start in my crease, and I'm going to stay in my actual crease. If I do not have hooded lids, I'm making sure you guys can see me. If I do not have hooded lids, you're going to stay right here, and you can actually feel it. Like, you can feel that bone, you can kind of feel it going back in there. You're going to stay right here on the outer half, keeping it on the outer part of the crease only. Outer corner, excuse me. So again, I'm staying halfway, and then I'm also going to press this very softly just on the outer corner and bringing it in just a little bit. Now for me, I'm going to switch over to a smaller blending brush, still in Dystopian, because I have hooded lids. Yay. I am now going to come up slightly higher, but not as high as I brought shade 2. You still want to see that gradation between light, medium, and dark. So now I'm going to take my blending brush, same thing. I'm working just in this outer corner or outer V. And then I'm going to softly bring it over about halfway across and then blend it out. You want to make sure that these are not harsh You know, I always say they're not really rules in makeup, and I do hold true to that and do believe that that is very true. However, making sure your foundation matches, making sure there's not a lot of demarcation, making sure that the shadows have a natural gradient, those types of things are kind of a given and kind of rules, if you will. So I'm going to come back in and just deepen it up just a little bit more. Again, if you do not have hooded lids, stay really in here on this socket area here and really push that product in. If you do have hooded lids or crepey lids or anything like that, you want to come slightly higher up, but not where you're going to mess with this mid-tone. So now you can, you know, perfectly see your light tone, your mid-tone, and your contour or deep shade. I'm going to come in now with a blending brush and our light shade, which was for me Flesh, and I am just going to lightly come over all three shades very, very softly, guys, and like very soft circular buffing motions. All this is going to do is soften all my edges up for me and provide that beautiful natural gradient effect. Now from here, you can stop. You don't have to do anything else. It is really pretty, natural, like daytime type of look. It is absolutely stunning. I always come underneath because I don't wear liner. In that case, I'm going to go with one of those short, fat smudger brushes. And where I left off product here, I'm going to bring the product and make sure that they connect. So where I left off here, I'm going to come right underneath the lash line. And if you stay super close to the lash line, it kind of gives you more of a soft effect, more of just a liner effect. The further down underneath, the more smoked out it's going to be, hence a smoky eye look. I'm going to keep it pretty close to my lashes. Again, where this is just a basic look for our beauties who are newbies. And then I'm going to pull, you guys always know I pull my shadows out to elongate my eye. So I'm going to just pull this out. And then any residual product, I'm just going to kind of put into the crease. And that is it. That is all you ever have to do. You could do this with pinks. You could do this with blues. You could do it with purples. Lay down your light shade, which is your skin tone shade. Going with a light purple in the entire crease, and then a very dark purple in your outer V or your outer part of your lid. Super, super easy. And once you kind of get the feel of making sure that everything is blended out and not having any harsh lines and stuff like that, then you can really start experimenting. Now from here, if you wanted to, I'm going to take just my finger. Y'all know from the last video, you can either use a small packer brush or a cut crease brush. I like to wet them when working with metallics or foil shades, or I use my fingers. If you have long nails, obviously you're probably going to use a brush. But I'm going to go into the shade right here called Rose Quartz. As you can see, she's been used. She's been around the block. And remember in my previous video, I said I kind of set my finger here for just a second and really roll into it. I allow the warmth of my finger to kind of really grab that product. And you can see how foiled and how deeply pigmented that is. Now I'm going to take this, and where the number 1 shade, our light shade, is at, I'm literally anywhere where I can still see my light shade. I am going to press this very softly, and I'm going to walk it across and meet my darker shade. Now, if you want to take this even a step further, I'm going to come in with the shade Pearl, which is much more light than the shade we just used. And I'm going to go into our pencil brush. You can also use a cut crease brush, and I'm going to spray it. Spray it with water, primer spray, rose water, MAC, whatever you have. Don't feel like you have to have, you know, a $20 product or $30 product. You don't need it. But take your little pencil brush and really coat the brush in, like, kind of all the way around. And when I say wet, I don't mean soaking wet. And you only want to wet your brush when working with like metallic foiled shadows. You never want to wet a matte shade. It is going to not press out, and it's not going to blend out evenly. It's going to be really muddy and really patchy. So kind of keep that in mind as well. When you really want to intensify your foiled shadows and metallic shadows, that's when you want to come in and wet them. So now I'm going to take just on the inner corner, and you can do this as intense as you want to do this. And I always kind of drag it up just the smallest little amount. and then down the smallest amount. And that just really lightens and brightens up that inner corner really beautifully. Now, if I didn't want to leave this here, I think it looks absolutely beautiful because you can still see that light gradient between our light shade, our mid-tone, and our contour tone or deep shade. But if you wanted to take it a step further, we'll go into Pearl with this brush or a small packer brush and very, very softly come right under the brow, and we're going to also highlight the brow bone. If you do not like that kind of frosted effect, don't do it. Keep your light tone there. And that is it. The only thing I will caution you with when doing a more metallic shade up here or adding anything extra aside from your light shade that you used all over is if you've already done your brows, it may sometimes settle in your brows. And if it does that, go back through with clear brow gel or your regular brow gel and it will clean that right up. So that is it. As you can see, it makes an absolutely stunning look. You can also just go back over it. And if you wanted to diffuse it or soften it any, you would just use the biggest brush you have. And we're just going to kind of diffuse everything, make sure everybody is blended out beautifully. And you can still see, again, I still pulled my shadows out. You can still see that beautiful gradient between your light tone, your mid-tone, and your dark tone or your contour tone. If you really wanted to, I like a soft blend through here. I like it to look nice and diffused. If you wanted to make it look, I guess, winged out, really sharp, I guess is the word I'm trying to say, you're going to go in with a cut crease brush, and you can take just a little bit of concealer and just kind of wipe it straight up, and it'll make it kind of more of a harsh line. I don't like that. You can also use, there are e.l.f. Like Shadow Shield little tapes you can put here prior to beginning your application. You can also take a beauty blender and some powder. I will show you. And I'm going to kind of pinch it where it's like really small, and you can walk that underneath the eye as well, just to give you a more sharp effect out here, more cat wing effect. I again like everything to be just very soft, very natural, and in natural gradients. If you don't like that, then that's fine. These again are for beginners, and if you're a beginner, then you probably don't know what you like yet. So start with this basic principle of 3, your light all over shade, your mid-tone crease shade, which is going to go over the entire crease area. Again, bring it up if you have hooded lids, and then you're going to do your deepest shade on the outer corner or outer V, and then bring that shade down below if you want to do that as well. The very last thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to be doing mascara and stuff like that right yet because that's a different video, is I'm going to take a white milk pencil. This one is from LA Colors. It's $1. Milk has one. NYX has a milk pencil. Several brands have a milk pencil. The Tarte Fake Awake is my favorite for my waterline. But if you want to do something that's really going to open up the eyes, I suggest, as you can see, look how beautifully lifted and open and awake that looks. The dark liner in here, as sultry and as sexy as that looks, it also closes the eye off. If you've got, you know, big, beautiful, amazing eyes and you love wearing black liner, go for it. I don't usually use liner at all just because of my allergies. So therefore I like to bring, you know, and kind of connect my top shadows to my bottom shadows and kind of smudge that out. If you have more closed off eyes, more small eyes, crepey lids, thick, you know, heavier lids, you know, hooded lids like myself, I definitely think a white or a nude skin tone type pencil works beautifully. Or if you don't want to use liner at all, don't use liner at all. So that is it for the back to basics for eyeshadow application. I think if you definitely kind of play around and say, all right, I need 3 shades, I can use this, this, and this. Well, then you venture off and you say, oh, I could do green, dark green, and then black. I can use pink with dark pink and then, you know, a bolder purple with it. As long as you're kind of staying in those same color tones, same color family, you can build those 3 colors up no matter how you want them to be. So you can see how stunning this looks. You can see how easy it was. And again, if I weren't sitting here talking, I would literally throw it on and go to town and be done with it. So I took it a little bit further, doing a number 4, which was placing our, you know, our metallic or foiled shade down. You would do that same thing if you had a ColourPop, you know, Super Shock shadow or whatever the case may be, and then press it in to the front part of your lid. I always try to keep this part of my lid as open as possible because I do have hooded lids, so that's another really good trick as well. But that's it, and I want to get close so you guys can see, and let me turn the lighting down just a touch. There we go. So you can see how pretty it is. You can see how gradient it looks, how like naturally, I guess the natural progression of the shadows. And then you could build it up. You could even take and put black out here. I mean, you could really intensify any way you wanted to and use the colors that you feel are best for your skin tone, for your eye color, etc. So I will show you again one time. I love it so much. And this is kind of like my go-to look, but I typically use like warmer shades. But that is definitely one of my go-to looks. So you can see how easy that is. And I hope that some of you guys, like, you know, follow along with me. I think this was easy enough and slow enough of a video that I think anyone could follow along with me. But let me know what your tips and tricks are. What are your preferences? What colors do you love? I love reds, oranges, rust colors, and greens and golds. Those are my jam. So that is it. I truly do hope this is helping some people. I've really busted my ass to do this. I know to you guys it seems like it's a 20-minute here or there, but for those of us who are content creators, it is hours of work. You're prepping, you're planning, you're setting everything out. You are actually doing the video, then editing the video, cleaning up. It's just, it's a lot. So kudos to you. For my fellow creators, I know how hard this is. I know how hard you work and how hard you bust your ass. So kudos to you, and please keep rocking it out. You're going to get there. You're going to be successful with this. Just please keep on pushing. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video at all, then please give me a thumbs up and subscribe down below. If you'll tap the notification bell, I'd be even more grateful and thankful. And please always remember to be your own best beautiful. Bye, beauties.